It reveals an evil in the heart. It reveals something that allows us to realize that we need God and we need help. There's wars and fightings that come from man, but where do they come from? James said, but from envy and jealousy and strife. And the psalmist was honest, and we ought to be honest with ourselves today. In Psalm 139:23, the scriptures read, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you and lead me along the path of everlasting life. Know my heart. Search my heart. If there's anything in me, any evil way in me, take me and lead me down the path of righteousness. Reveal in me what's in me. So there's a story in the Bible of the prodigal son, the younger son, and an elder brother. The younger son demanded of his father the portion of inheritance that was due to him, but he couldn't wait. He wanted it now. He began a spiral downward away from the blessings of the father because he wanted what was coming to him now. He couldn't wait. He's like so many of us. The biggest problem in the church today is we've mastered everything but waiting. There's some people who won't be here by the end of this year because they told God if he didn't do it by March, then they were going to do something themselves. That if it didn't happen by June, they were going to move to Pensacola. That if it didn't happen by April, they were going back to Chicago. And what you have to realize that I don't care how much you announce about what you're going to do, if this don't happen then or there, the key to your success is you're going to be your ability to wait on God until God releases to you what he has purpose for you to have from the foundations of the world. He got what he wanted, and then the Bible said he wasted it. That's what the word prodigal means, a wasteful lifestyle. And he got into deep sin. He was totally estranged from his father, his family, his friends, and his home, and completely now backslidden. And in the midst of a mess in a hog pen, eating what the pigs won't eat, designed to have his belly filled with something. None of these people that he had hooked up with now are helping him. Nobody now. His money's gone. His substance gone. He spent everything he had, so he's of no use to anybody now. That's the way it is out there, y'all. I don't care. Yeah? Your friends are your friends. When you got good time friends, you don't have friends at all. So here he is in a hog pen. Here's what happened. Luke chapter 15, verse 20. He got right up and went home to his father. And when he was still a long way off, his father saw him, his heart pounding. He had compassion on him. The father did. He ran out, embraced him, and kissed him. The son started his speech. Father, I've sinned against God. I've sinned before you. I don't deserve to be called your son ever again. Somebody say, but the father. But the father wasn't even listening. He was calling to the servants, quick, bring a clean set of clothes and dress him. Put the family ring on his finger, sandals on his feet. Then get a grain-fed heifer. Y'all hear that? Get a corn-fed heifer and roast it. We're going to feast. We're going to have a wonderful time. My son is here, given up for dead and now alive, given up for lost and now found. And they begin to have a wonderful time. My son is here. He said, I'm not worthy to be called your son forever. It don't matter what you think. The father said, you're my son. He said, but I've done too much. But the father said, you're my son. He said, but I'm not worthy. You're not. You're my son. You didn't ask to be born. You didn't ask to come into this family. I birthed you. I'm your father. And you're my son. I know where you've been. I know what you've done. But you're my son. So everybody rejoices. Everybody has a party and joins in the party. And they're making music and they're dancing. And then everybody ought to be excited, right? But everybody ain't happy. There was the older brother, a brother who had an issue with another brother's walk with his father. I never understood that. Every time I read about Joseph, I said, now, if the father loved Joseph, why didn't the brothers love Joseph? If people hate you It may not be that you got a purpose or a reason for them to hate you. They may just hate you because of your relationship with God. You might just rub them the wrong way. You ever have people tell you, you're always praying, you're always reading your Bible, you're always giving your money to that church, you always doing it. They hating on you. They hating on you because you love the Lord so much that he has your total, complete devotion, your single-hearted devotion you've given to him. And there's some people who hate you because you're committed and they're uncommitted. So Luke 15:25 says, all this time his oldest son was out in the field. And when the day's work was done, he came in and he approached the house and he heard the music and dancing. Verse 26, calling over one of the houseboys, he asked what was going on. He told him, your brother came home. Say, your brother. Oh, he's still your brother. Your brother came home. Your father has ordered a feast, barbecued beef. Sunday. How many of y'all believe they probably from the north side? Barbecue beef, because he has him home safe and sound. The older brother stalked off in an angry sulk and refused to join in. So his father came out and tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen. Implacable, wouldn't listen, didn't want to hear it. Irreconcilable. Here's his older brother. Refused to listen. Don't want to hear it. Cannot be appeased. There's no way you're going to make this work. Say what you want to say. I ain't with it. The older brother began to explain why he felt like he felt. He says he never did anything wrong. He always obeyed. Been serving faithfully. I'll read it to you. Verse 29. All these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Verse 30. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fatted calf. I've been right here. And your son goes out and wastes all of your money on hoes and then come back here and you get the fatted calf and you have a party. OMG. OMG. Oh my gosh. What in the world does what he had done have to do with the father, or what the father does for someone else? Why would he say, this is what I've done, while the father's blessing somebody else? What you've done ain't got nothing to do with what God's doing for somebody else. You mad because God is blessing me? I've never been able to figure that out all the days of my life. You upset because somebody else was freely given the opportunity that you thought you deserved? That's why you got to celebrate people when God elevates them. It's not God skipping you. Your turn is coming. All the elder brother had to do was stay faithful, and the double portion, the blessing, the patriarchal blessing was going to be his. So why are you upset about what God's doing for somebody else when you got your own stuff coming after a while? You got to rejoice with those that do rejoice. Who do they think they are? They don't deserve it. I thank God the gospel is laid out for us here, because you're right. This boy didn't deserve anything. And as a matter of fact, the Bible teaches he couldn't live anything. He made bad decisions. He wasted years of his life, and he still gets to enjoy the forgiveness of a loving father. Now that's the gospel. You lived like hell, wound up in a hog pen, wasted your substance, hung out with hoes, smoked your weed, drank your liquor, homeless, walked the streets, stole, lied, did everything you needed to do to survive, and the Father finds you when you run into him. He loves you, falls on your neck, kisses you, kills the fatted calf, gets the purple robe, gets the golden ring, puts it on your finger, and say, my son that was lost is now found. That's the gospel. And for all of you that forgot where you came from, I'm going to stop right here. For all of you that don't remember where you were when God found you, I'm going to stop right here. For all of you that don't realize that you were just like this young boy and that you needed the love of the Father, I'm going to stop right here. Now one of us better than now one of us. And I don't care if you weren't as deep as he was, you were still deep in sin, far from the peaceful shore, very deeply stained within, sinking to rise no more. But the master of the sea heard your despairing cry. And God wanted me to tell somebody that this is the gospel. So the young son experienced the gospel and now has a relationship with his father that I'm sure now will be unbreakable. He ain't going nowhere. He's been forgiven. And to whom much is forgiven, they will love much. That's how you get people who stick to the plan. They've been forgiven. People that hold on, they've been forgiven. People that won't go back into the world, they've been forgiven. People that will continue to follow the Father, they'll be forgiven. People that are bloom where they're planted, they've been forgiven.